The effects of positive and negative reinforcement on student behavior. Identified problem. The problem this study will address is negative student behavior. The student will address whether positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement is more effective in encouraging positive behavior. The purpose of the study. This issue was determined to be a problem based on my classroom experience and the data collected from the Georgia Department of Education on discipline actions. Negative behavior can impact the learning and school experience for not only the student demonstrating the behavior, but their peers as well. The purpose of this study will be to determine the impact that positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement have on behavior. Behavior incidents in Polk County. The following chart indicates the number of students enrolled in Polk County and the number of incidents of behavior severe enough to report. The number of students enrolled is 8,334, and the number of student incidents is 712. This data was retrieved from the Georgia Department of Education and Governor's Office of Student Achievement. Data indications. The data in my graphical representation indicates that in my county, there are students who demonstrate negative behaviors that are severe enough to impact the student's learning and the learning of others. 8.5% of students are displaying behavior problems, which can be seen in the graph. This data suggests that determining what approach best addresses behavior could be beneficial to the learning environment by improving behavior and learning outcomes. Data implications. Behavior issues in the classroom impact the learning of the individual student and the learning of their peers. Determining the best practice to increase positive behavior and decrease negative behavior will have an impact on all student achievement. The goal is to find if positive, negative, or a combination of positive and negative reinforcement is more effective in decreasing negative and increasing positive behaviors. Operant conditioning. Many of the research articles mentioned B.F. Skinner and operant conditioning. The use of positive and negative reinforcers is a key point of operant conditioning and of my proposed research. As with all research, being clear and concise, being mindful, and ensuring students' well-being are also best practices to implement during the research. Implementing positive and negative reinforcers has an impact on behavior outcomes and has been a well-established and useful method for increasing desired behaviors. The use of reinforcers to increase and decrease behavior is operant conditioning. My research will use positive and negative reinforcement to address the problem of negative behaviors in the classroom and is directly connected to operant conditioning. Desired outcome of operant conditioning. The basic interpretation from the literature reviewed is that using reinforcement tends to have a positive impact on student behavior. Many of the articles show that both positive and negative reinforcement can create improvements in behavioral outcomes, such as increased on-task behavior, increased prosocial behaviors, and a reduction in disruptive and/or inappropriate behaviors. Some of the studies also indicate an increase in student achievement due to positive behavior changes in the classroom that result in fewer disruptions due to the use of reinforcers. Study sample. The study population will be comprised of K through 5th, 6 self-contained students whose parents consent to their participation. Data will be collected by use of a data collection chart. The teacher and the paraprofessionals in the classroom will identify problem behaviors as they occur and collect data on what approach has the greatest effect on behavior in a convenient sampling. Instrumentation. The research will be conducted through a quantitative study using primary data collected in the self-contained classroom on a data chart that identifies the type of reinforcer used and the outcome. The population used will be a focus group consisting of kindergarten through 5th grade self-contained students in my classroom who have permission to participate in the study. Collaborative efforts. Data will be collected throughout the typical school day so that the study will not impact, change, or disrupt the students' schedules or routine, ensuring that there will be no external influences via the study, garnering organic results. This will prevent any possible harm, protecting all students involved. Confidentiality and data will be protected by ensuring data remains secure at all times. Data contributors will consist of the student's personal teachers, paraprofessionals, service providers, and school administration when appropriate. Procedures. Upon following daily schedules with a behavior issue arises, the teacher or para will address the behavior with positive and negative or both positive and negative reinforcement according to the research schedule. A control group of students will not follow the schedule and will only use a clip movement chart where behavior is addressed by moving a clip in response to negative behaviors for the duration of the research. Data will be collected on a data collection sheet about the type of reinforcer used and the outcome. Data will be analyzed to determine the outcome of the study. Internal and external validity. While students will be measured and treated the same, there is a potential for researcher bias that could exist due to the established relationships with the participants. The measure for control will be the data collection tool and the simplicity that it exhibits for collecting data that is fact-based. Confidentiality. Confidentiality and data will be protected by ensuring data remains secure at all times. Data contributors consisting of the student's personal teachers, paraprofessionals, service providers, and school administration will understand the importance of confidentiality. All local district ethics policy regarding student confidentiality and privacy will be adhered to. Results. The impact that this study would have on student achievement would be to have a positive effect on student behavior. When the plan is implemented, each of these stages should yield results showing an improvement in the behavior of the participating students. According to the research conducted for this study, the behavioral outcome for these students should improve in areas such as increased pro-social behaviors, more on-task behaviors, and a reduction in negative and/or inappropriate behaviors. Potential changes to the study. My original action plan could have been improved in some areas. For one, the control group was inside my classroom and mixed with the experimental group. I believe having another similar classroom as a control group would yield better results. Another change I believe that could benefit the research is shorter collection periods. I originally started with 3 9-week collection periods, and I believe that this is too long. I believe that 2-week reinforcement schedules would be better suited for this study. Next would be to adjust the study as needed to improve its quality and outcome. In summary, using a similar classroom as a control group could potentially yield better results. Adjusting the timeline and reinforcement schedule to reduce the amount of time that each reinforcer is used could also benefit the study. Using one reinforcer for 9 weeks and have students adjust to this to then change after this 9-week period could be confusing to some students. Lastly, adjusting the study when appropriate to garner better results. Additional research. Additional research about the effects of negative and positive reinforcement used independently as well as tandemly and the impact of those strategies on behavior and learning outcomes could be beneficial to teachers of students of all ages. Negative behaviors are directly related to negative learning outcomes. The fact is that little learning happens for anyone when behavior is the focus of the classroom.